I'm ecstatic for this next year. I mean, learning a lot this season, I think, is going to help me excel next season. And there's things that I went through last season that, like, to be completely honest with you, if I didn't go back to Salem, I probably wouldn't have learned enough about me to get through more levels.
All right, guys, welcome back into another episode to the Show We Go Baseball podcast. Today's episode, we're dipping back into the Red Sox system. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but it's one of my favorite arms in the system. It's fellow redhead Noah Dean. If you don't know anything about Noah, he spent the 2024 season down in Salem, out in the sticks of the world a little bit, out in Virginia. But Noah, I always do layups here. Very first question, just kind of get us started. You're back home, I know, for the holiday and everything. But how has your off season been treating you so far?
Good. Yeah, we were down in Florida training with the staff and everyone, so it was nice to kind of see all the faces that I haven't seen since spring training and everything like that. So it's been good. And then obviously coming back here a couple days ago, seeing family, friends, golf, and then going down to the place I train. It's all going well.
Well, I want to just ask you a little bit about the season, just to get it out in front of us here. Obviously, you started the year in Salem, ended up appearing in Greenville as well. But now that we're done and you're into the off season, take a peek back at the season. What are some of your takeaways from this year?
To be completely honest with you, I think the one thing that I just have learned for this season has just been like go out there and just have fun. I mean, I think my first year I put a lot of pressure on me, and I think that kind of gave a negative outcome towards that. But this year I really enjoyed the Salem environment, the Greenville environment, and just went out there and had fun.
I'm gonna say that that's not a shock to me. Has anybody ever told you that you're kind of like a charismatic guy?
Well, I mean, I do have the Sweet Escape by Gwen Stefani as my walkout.
It's an elite walkout.
Well, I mean, underrated song, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
But I actually did not know that. That's news to me.
Yeah, you might be able to catch me singing along during my warm-up pitches.
Okay. When did this one start? Like, how did that come about?
I think we were in spring training, and I was driving back from the complex with Caleb Bolden, and he has that one song by Rihanna. And I was like, maybe I should go with that vibe. And that literally the first song that came up was the Sweet Escape on my phone. And I was like, yep, winner. That's it.
Honestly, underrated song. I don't think anybody can talk any trash on that. But I do remember hearing Caleb Bolden's in Portland at one point this year. And I'm like, I just thought that was the stadium playing that.
Nope, that's him.
That's his. Okay, fair enough. I'm sure that people probably think the same thing about hearing yours. They're just like, oh, that's probably just the stadium playing.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's me. But all right. So obviously, you got some time in Greenville towards the end of the year. What were, I guess, when you got to high A, what in the Greenville environment, did you notice anything about the bump in play?
The what?
Like just the bump in competition, like just going from low A to high A.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the guys that were there for other teams, and especially our team, I've played against in low A, and the guys on the team in Greenville, I played with them in low A as well. So it was kind of just getting back to like being with all my good friends, and the competition was the guys from low A. So I kind of had an understanding about that, but the difference was just like the fans. I mean, there's probably like 3 places in low A that the stadium would pack up, but like in Greenville, I mean, you have all those fans just watching you. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I always tell people that Greenville is probably one of the more underrated cities in America. I just love the walkability and just the amount of things that are going on there. And I would assume that when a guy goes from Salem, Virginia to Greenville, it's a little bit of it's kind of a big difference. I think that just the whole vibe, like I know the nightlife in Greenville, you're obviously right down the road from Clemson and you're not too far from Atlanta. It's like, I know it's like a little more popping, but what did you enjoy about like just even off the field things?
Well, the place that we were staying at had on one of the floors, I think it was like the second floor, they had an indoor golf simulator. And
Mm.
that was cool. I mean, there was a couple times where like on that off day on Monday, Sunday night, we'd go down there and play golf until we couldn't keep our eyes open. Then we'd go upstairs, go to sleep, wake up, play video games, go right back down and play golf. It was just that was probably the most fun. And then obviously like actually going out and playing golf. That was also fun.
Yeah, I got some questions about your golf game a little later in this. I've had quite a few sources pitch in on. I have a lot of stuff on a lot of guys' golf games, especially from your apartment down in the complex. So I will get into that in a little bit here. Um, so something that struck out to me, just when I took a little peek at your numbers this past year, and obviously your Salem numbers were fantastic. I mean, you started in 13 of the 15 games you played in, and your K per nine was well over 12. And then you went up to Greenville and still were striking out guys at a good pace. So, what was it about your stuff this year that you liked whenever you were out in the field?
What helped me big like a lot was that I came in this year with like an actual slider. Like last year it was just fastball, changeup, curveball, and then something like a sweeper. But this year, I mean, or I guess last off season, I worked on throwing a slider and stuff like that. And going into this year, it helped me tremendously. I mean, it was one of my probably my highest strike thrown pitch, and it was like a good reset pitch as well. So I think that's going into this year. That was the biggest plus.
And I saw that your innings pitched this year. It was more than you had all of last season, and then even in your last year at Old Dominion. Were you kind of feeling? I know I asked guys this question a lot too. It's like, hey, were you feeling pretty tired at the end of the year? But how were you feeling as like the months went on, and even towards like the end of August, like early September? Were you starting to feel it catch up to you a little bit? Like, okay, I'm at my max right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was really weird. Like every day but the day I pitch, I felt like tired. My body was like, all right, I'm starting to get a little worn out. But then the day that I pitched, it was like first game of the season, go. Maybe it was adrenaline or what, but like every other day but pitching is the days I was like, all right, like it's getting long. It's all right. Thank you.
Something I also found interesting, and I want to get your input on this. So I saw during the season that they were doing something in Salem and Greenville with a lot of the pitchers. It was almost like it was a lot of guys who were piggybacking other guys, where it was
Mhm.
like, the starter would throw like 2, 3 innings, and then you would have another guy come in, throw like 2, 3 innings. And I noticed that happening a lot in Salem and Greenville. It happened a little bit in Portland, not so much in Worcester, but um, what was that like for you? Because I saw that you had come out of the bullpen a few times. You also had started, and then in Greenville as well. So, like, I guess how was that preparing for that kind of scenario?
I mean, it was a little tough on me in the beginning. I mean, I guess going in from a reliever to a starter, I had to learn how to be a starter. And then this year, I feel like going into the season, I was like, all right, like I got I got my routine, I got everything. And then they were like, hey, you're going to come out of the pen for a couple games. It was kind of just like like kind of relearning how to come into a middle of a game or whatever it was. But I mean, it was a quick turnaround. I mean, me and Trenner in Salem, we called ourselves when we'd go into the locker room the day we would pitch, we call ourselves the GingerSnap day. So we'd go out and I'd start and then he'd finish, or he'd start, I'd finish. It was just GingerSnap day. We actually tried making shirts, and the place that we were trying to get it just were like, yeah, no, we're not doing that.
So that's not going to be a thing. The shirts are not happening.
No, we tried it. Apparently, it was something with the Boston logo, and they couldn't print it without someone's
Mm.
approval and all that stuff. But yeah, we at least we tried.
All right, I got a favor for you. I want you to send a text to our good pal Blake Wehunt. His dad, I think, is going to go through with the Wehunt Chicken Farm shirt, and there's just going to be a link where you can go and order them. We can easily get
Hmm.
the Ginger Snap on there.
I
I would
mean,
own
that would be
that
awesome.
shirt instantly. That'd be an instant buy for me. But
Yeah,
all
I
right.
think he was going with your podcast, and we was like, I think I'm gonna make a website. I think these shirts would go, and I'm like, I'm still waiting on my shirt. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's been a thing. Like I feel like I tried to get him to do this last off season, and he was kind of hitting me with like, oh, like I don't know. I'm like, dude, people will buy it. Like
That's
you
what I
just
told him.
send the link to us, we'll spread it out. People will get it.
Yeah,
I think the same thing for you and Trenner's shirts, man. I think that just throw them up on the same link, see what happens. But
yeah.
I know our guy Hunter Knoll would help us spread those out too. So all right. So going back to a little bit of you preparing in both roles. Do you think so? I think something fascinating I learned like just this past year and over the past years, just being around like in Worcester and Portland, and something that Chad Tracy, the manager in Worcester, would always kind of talk about is like, I want guys to have experienced, like mostly pitchers he's talking about. I want guys to have experienced situations down in the minors for the first time before they make it to the pros. So
Mhm.
he had guys opening games, he had guys closing games, he had guys coming in the fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever it was. Do you think that's helped you at all, like with the piggyback situation? Just like kind of bracing yourself that, if you want that one day when you do get to the pros and, you don't know if you're going to be starting, if you're going to be coming in middle relief, whatever it is, like just having that in your back pocket, like I've done this before.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it happened, I was like, oh, like what's going on? Like you guys told me starter or whatever, blah blah. But I think now relearning how to be a bullpen guy and a starter, I have like two different routines for it. So like the day when the day comes, I think that I'd be pretty prepared for like routine wise and being able to get my throwing done before and all this stuff. So I do think it was helpful.
What's like the, what's like- other, I guess, what goes into the routine, and I guess, what's different, I guess, about the routine?
Well, starters, I feel like I get out there however long before the game. I can take my time. I can do exactly what I want to do. Bullpen's a little different because if someone starts struggling, you might have to quickly like get through what you need to do like ASAP before you can get onto the bullpen or get on the mound and then mount to the game. So I think it's just bullpen's a little bit more fast paced rather than starting. You can take your time, kind of gather yourself like that.
Okay. All right. I apologize, Jamie. I always do this, that I'm always hogging this. So
Dude, I'm
take
here
it
for moral
away.
support for the first part of it.
Well,
What do you got? Dude, I do what I can. When you got promoted, what was that feeling like? And just to have that kind of checked off off your checklist going up another level.
Yeah, I mean, I was just on a mission to kind of move on. Um, Obviously, spent the whole year, my first year in Salem, and kind of like saw my buddies go and kind of experience what they're feeling and stuff like that. So it was a good experience because I mean I had a good relationship with the coaches, and they were like, "You finally did it. Now leave." So
Short and to the point.
yeah, I mean Juan Rivera, he was like, yeah, good job, man. Like we knew it was happening. See ya. Like go kill it. So it was good. And then obviously just being able to prove to myself, like obviously I can still like get out of there and do that. But at the end of the day, the job's not done. Kind of keep going.
Yeah. Did they just like call you into the office and kind of short and sweet, or did they surprise you at all?
Well, we after that game, we knew someone was getting called up, and Elmer walks in. And I was like, all right, like, good job, Elmer. Like, that's cool. And then, and then Elmer walks out, and then I see like Liam looking at me, and he's like, give me like one of these. He's like, and I'm like, oh God. I walked in, and then they were just like, they just told me like how proud they were and stuff like that. So,
You're a little bit of a strikeout machine this year. I feel like a couple times on Twitter it was like 9 strikeouts. What kind of led to that rise in your strikeout numbers?
like I said before, I think that slider helped me out a lot. Um, I also I learned a little bit more about my arsenal and how everything plays off each other. Kind of reading the batter too. Um, I mean, our one of our coaches, Wheeler, he kind of told me he was like, like all your answers are within that batter. Like you can read the batter and see what they're looking for, and you can tell like if you throw a pitch, it throws them off. Like you could double up, or you can go to a different pitch or whatever. So I mean, implementing all that into on the like I guess on the mound, like just helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
I will say I'm gonna follow up on the strikeout numbers, and the stat keeps circulating back on social media, but you were number 4 in the entire minor leagues on whiff percentage on 1,000 pitches or more thrown. Like, I don't know if
Yeah.
that's something you like paid attention to or like you kind of realized at the time, but it's just like I'm missing a ton of bats. Like, when did that kind of hit you throughout the year?
I think that really hit me towards the end of the season. I think I was just like talking to Wee Hunt or whoever, and we're looking up like how many hits we've given up, and everyone I forget what everyone else was, but I was just like, oh, like I have like 39 hits this whole entire year. Like, what is this? And I think I gave up the one hit my last outing or whatever. But that was when I realized I was like that didn't really get hit. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, some of these names on this list from this past year that were on that, you being 4th in there, it's like kind of impressive just company there. And it's something that I guess like a lot of people, since you were down in low A, it's like I don't know if people like truly understood how good of a season you were having. Obviously, it warranted with the promotion, but for 2025, are you excited to kind of have all that momentum from this year that you gained, and then obviously getting up to Greenville? Like, and I guess I'm not, I can't guess where you're going to be starting out the year, but I would assume you're going to start in Greenville. But are you kind of excited to have that momentum behind you? And like you said, with the slider working and getting to know your arsenal a little better and really taking off this year?
Yeah, I'm excited for this next year. I mean, learning a lot this season, I think, is going to help me excel next season. And there's things that I went through last season that, like, to be completely honest with you, if I didn't go back to Salem, I probably wouldn't have learned enough about me to get through another more levels. So, I think learning myself and learning how I play baseball, was the biggest thing that I've learned this year, and I think it's going to help next year.
I've heard there's a running joke, at least among maybe guys in your apartment down there. But are you going to start getting called a prospect? Is that like something that you guys are like throwing out to people to be like, you're the prospect now, right?
No, that's only Conley and Wee Hunt.
I don't know, man. I just looked. I saw you got bumped up on our friends over at Sox Prospects. So.
Yeah, we have a before we found out we're going down to Florida, or like where we were living in Florida, we made a group chat with the people that were living in the house, and like we just made the group chat name, and I was just like, I don't even know what I changed it to, but then Wee Hunt put it to like the prospects and Wee Hunt, and we're like, all right, Wee Hunt, come on, dude, like you went from low A to double A in 1 year. You're telling me you're not a prospect?
Yeah. No, I thought it was so funny because I think it was him that said like, oh yeah, we were calling Connolly the prospect because he was starting to like creep up there a little bit. And he said like Marcelo and the guys were starting to get in on it too, where they were like chirping at him, calling him the prospect. So I guess I didn't truly realize that you guys like not that like it's like a serious thing. Like I know you guys aren't being like, oh well, your number like 18 in the system, your number this, but it is interesting to me that you guys kind of like pay attention to that stuff, and not that you guys truly care who's ranked where, because honestly at the end of the day it doesn't really matter. But what does it like, are you creeping on yourself like throughout the year of being like seeing if you're moving up, if your teammates are moving up? Like, is that something you guys like do a lot?
I wouldn't necessarily say like a lot. I mean, it is cool just to kind of see how people value you within an organization or anything like that. But it's nothing like I don't think any of us go on Twitter and we're just searching to see like, oh, where are we? Oh, this, that. Like, I think it's all just fun and games when we see it. Like we'll tell Mullins, hey, dude, you're up there, and he's just like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, like I'm telling you, that's what people see you. That's all.
Okay, I got a follow-up question to you for this. Give me the over. What's the over/under set at for how many times you search your own name on social media throughout the year?
Oh God, maybe like once or twice. I
Okay,
am
all
I
right.
am not a big one. I'm not a big numbers person. You gave me all the numbers in the world, I'd be like, I still don't know what that means. And two, and this is gonna sound rude or whatever, I just really don't care. Like it's just, I think that's how people fall into little traps. And to me, it's like if I don't know, it's easier. Simple
I
brain,
agree, man.
easier world.
We had Nick Sogard on the show, I think last week, and obviously Nick's 40-man guy had a fantastic year and one of the easiest guys to root for. And he admitted that he is like searching for himself on like Twitter sometimes just to see like what people are saying. And I'm just like, dude, that like in Boston, like that can be a bad thing to do. Like these Red Sox fans, man, they're nuts. And he's just like, I love it. Like I love seeing the bad stuff too. And I'm just like, dude, you are a psychopath. But I didn't know if like a lot of the minor league guys, I mean, I get what he was saying because he's like, if I went 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts in Worcester, I'm not going to be getting a bunch of tweets at me of like I suck and all this stuff. But then if I do it in Boston, I'm going to get a bunch of tweets and
Oh
everything.
yeah.
So I guess like he's saying like the minor league guys have a little better chance of not hiding it, but just like not like facing it as much. And it's definitely something different once you get up to Boston. And I'd advise you not to do it once you do start climbing up the rankings here. All right, let's talk about the golf game here. I've had a lot of your friends on, a lot of guys talking a lot of stuff. I have a lot of notes from different guys. I have stuff in here, everything from Blake Wehunt hits a golf ball 340 yards off the tee, which I find incredible. I have in here that Connolly Early golfs a lot, but that doesn't mean he's good. And I have nothing on you though. So how do you stack up against guys like Hayden and the rest of the bunch?
I mean, I'm not good, but I think I could hold my own. Usually, like when we were down there in Florida, we just scrambled all the time. We'd make like 2v2 teams, stuff like that. And there would be times where we'll take a lot of my shot. Me and Mullins were usually the partners, where we call ourselves like the partners. Like that's my partner, everything. So like there'd be days where Mullins has all the shots that are good. There'll be days that I have all the shots that are good. It kind of just all kind of plays out by day.
Okay, and I will say when we had Hayden on not that long ago, his golf clubs were sitting right behind him, and I've heard a lot. I mean, this isn't saying much, but our good friend Nathan Landry told me that Hayden Mullins was like the best golfer he's ever seen. But I did find out that Nathan had not golfed before he got into pro ball. Um, so I asked him about it, and he's like, "No, I'm not that good." He said the real scratch golfer is Hunter Dobbins. That he
Yes.
is like legit good. Can you attest to this?
Yes. My first time playing with Dobbins, when Dobbins gets on the golf course, he knows he's good too. So he'll be like, "Hey, Noah, like, what do you want to see here? You want to see a tight little draw up there or a fade or whatever?" And I'm just like, "Hit a cool shot on the fairway." It is a perfect little tight baby draw, bright center fairway. It's perfect every time.
I would have never guessed. Like, I know there's a lot of like stuff out there about him now with him getting added to the 40 man, he's starting to become more known. But I'm finding out like so much stuff about this guy now that like he's like actually like there in the spotlight. And it's like I just learned about Big Deborah. That's the first time I've learned about the Big Deborah sweatshirt that he wears because he loves Little Debbie's. And then I mean, everybody knows about the Dr. Pepper at this point, but then I just found out he's a scratch golfer.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last time I played with him, I mean, we were playing, it was like 95 degrees. It was so hot. We're all sweating. And I hit a bad shot off the tee box. That's a note you can put down. I cannot hit a driver to save my life. If you ask someone, "Hey, I'll give you $1 million to get a friend that can't hit a driver," put it on me. I promise you, I will get it for you. I cannot hit that. So I hit a really bad shot, and he looks at me and he's like, "Hey, you know what to help with that? And I'm like, what, Davids? He's like, a nice cold Dr. Pepper. And he takes that and gives it to me. And I was like, that just checks out.
Yeah, I had no idea that was like as legit of a thing as it was, the Dr. Pepper thing,
Oh, yeah.
until he got called up to Worcester and he's warming up in the bullpen out on a day he's starting. And the cameras are like kind of like sneaking over to him because I think he was making his debut. And he's just like sucking one back like the whole time. He's like pitching. He like goes, throws a pitch, goes over, gets the can, starts drinking it down, sets it down, throws another maybe like couple pitches, goes up, goes again. And he's up like on the Jumbotron because they got him on camera before the game, and he's just like going to town. I'm like, this guy's legit, dude. It's incredible. Truly is incredible. All right. Let's get back to you, though. The story of Hunter Dobbins can go on for years, but the story of Noah Dean, though, when you're not on the golf course, what are you doing with your free time?
Either hanging out with my family, friends, or my fiance, or Call of Duty.
Okay.
The new Call of Duty came out, and I have spent an absurd amount of hours playing Call of Duty.
I don't even want to ask you I'm not going to ask you the over-under on that.
I have about 90 hours on the game.
But dedication.
But Hayden Mullins has about 110. So.
That's a note you should keep, Andrew.
I can't. I have there's people in the Red Sox org that sometimes watch / listen to these, so I'm not gonna get much into like how much time you're spending on that. But, all right,
it's a mass probe into the organization.
I hate Mullins, man. That's shocking. All right, so when you're not playing Call of Duty or golfing, what are you doing with your time other than? I did see you were engaged. Let's actually go to that. How has that been treating you? And are you currently planning a wedding or anything?
As of now, no. I think it's probably going to be like I guess next off season. But we're just enjoying it. Just
okay.
when you get the time to see each other, because she's from Sweden, so like I guess like during the season she goes home, spends time with her mom, everyone, and then when she comes back, that's when. It's usually around like Thanksgiving or the end of the season to where like she can travel with me. And then actually Monday I'm flying out to Sweden and I'm there till like the first week of January. So
wow.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about this. So having a fiance from Sweden, how cool is that feeling having her come over here to the United States and travel with you and her see places for the first time, like, around America. And you're just kind of like, this is kind of cool though. Like, her seeing this all for the first time. Like, how cool is that you get to kind of be like almost like a tour guide over here?
Yeah, I mean, baseball plays a big factor into it. I mean, I don't think if I was playing baseball I'd be able to travel as much. But like her going to Greenville, she had a blast there, and she liked Salem because there was a lot of like hiking places, stuff like that, and she's a big nature girl. So there was like this one, I guess, like spot where it was like a 3-mile trail, and at the top of like the hill there was like this one rock that was hanging over, I guess, a cliff, and you could just see like miles and miles of just mountains, and it was really, really cool. But I mean, it is cool seeing her, like seeing all these different environments, that because she went to ODU to play tennis, so she's been in the States here and there, but being able to travel with me for baseball, she gets to see a little bit more.
Yeah, I always just find it so cool. Just even like, when I just got married last month, and when me and my wife kind of go see new places, and we've lived in America our whole life, I just enjoy that. Like, even places that I've been, it's like, even around New England and stuff. And, we kind of grew up in St. Louis. So it was like one of those things where like we were brand new to it. And it was just so fun, like kind of seeing her. I can only imagine from somebody that's from a whole new country.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to about going to Sweden for so long? Other than spending time with her?
I mean, to be quite honest with you, her family is awesome. I mean, I love enjoying like time with them, and her brother's really cool. He always is joking around, having fun. And then nowadays Jersey doesn't get snow, so there's a lot of snow in Sweden. So I'm gonna look forward to that too. And there's moose there. I love moose.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, those things are sick.
Why do you like them so much?
I don't know. I saw one on, I think, on Instagram or something like that, and I was like, dude, this thing is massive. Like, it's sick. And then last year for Christmas, she got me, because I was going over to Sweden the day after Christmas, and she got me a like a moose safari like ticket or whatever, and we went and saw moose. And I mean, there's a guy that's like 6'3" standing next to it, and this thing is towering over him. And it was just so cool to see something that I've never seen in my life. So it was. I think it's just. I just don't know if they're cool animals.
You know, there's a big moose population in Maine.
Well, that would be awesome.
No, it's a real thing. That's the only time I've ever been up and close and personal with a moose. Like kind of. It's probably about like 30 minutes north of Portland. So once you get up to Double A, man, you're gonna have to. I mean, dude, Maine. I mean, Jamie, you can attest to this. Maine is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
I think I went up to that area for summer ball. I don't remember much of it because I was only there for like 2 weeks. But but I mean, the place where I was at, it was beautiful, and the drive too.
Yeah, I mean, it's Maine is such a big state too that you don't truly realize it. It's so spread out, and I think there's like a stat that it has the most coastline in America, which you would think it's California. It's actually Maine because it's like it goes so far up there, and it's so like jagged, and it's like but it's only like inhabited on like the southeast corner, and then there's like a little bit, but it's like the rest of it's just like forests and mountains and
That's
all
sick.
this other stuff. It's a cool state, man. You're probably gonna have some fun when you go up to Portland one day.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Jamie, I got a few left. I don't know what you have kind of like emptying the tank here.
Yeah, I guess the one I've left is, what was it like with Bailey? Did you see like a change in the pitching philosophy last year with just how they handled everybody?
I truthfully think there's not much of a change. I think the only philosophy is that they are very big on communication now. Like, where I'm always talking to each player has a specific like pitching coach or assistant pitching coach or whatever. And like me, I have Alex Reynolds, and me and Reynolds talk all the time. And like same with like the strength coaches and stuff like that. Like, I think communication is probably the biggest thing that I've seen like recently. That's big. That's been the biggest like change.
Okay. The talk with Andrew, I feel like you look at guys like you, Dobbins, there's a lot more pitching prospects coming up than ever before, especially I feel like going back to Leicester, it hasn't been an organization known for having kind of a stockpile of arms.
I'm sorry, what?
I feel like in recent years they haven't been like stockpiling arms. And you've had guys like yourself, Dobbins, and kind of a lot of guys that people are excited about moving up through the system.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that something that you've I guess that you guys have really thought about yet? Is like, you know, I think I was talking to Hayden about this, and you know, as of like right now, you know, he's projected to be in a rotation with guys like David Sandlin, and you know, it's like Conway Early, Mullins, and Wickelman if he's still down there unless he's up. And you know, there's a lot more. I feel like there's starting to be, like, to Jamie's point, there's starting to be a lot, like a big wave of arms starting to come through, and I feel like it's really starting to get replenished. Is that something that you guys have like kind of looked at and you're like, okay, we got a lot more, I guess, juice flowing around, I guess, than when you initially came into the system?
Yeah, I mean, I never looked at it like, oh, we have so many arms. It's just like I kind of look at it as like in the moment of like who's there at the time. So like I don't look at saying, oh, Greenville has so many arms, blah blah blah. It's just like, oh, Raj is carving, Mullins is carving, like Wheon is carving. Like, I never really put it into like effect of like, oh, like Salem or Greenville or whatever has like 9 starters there, like what's going on or anything like that. It's more on the lines of just like personal, like, okay, he's doing awesome, like good for him, stuff like that.
All right, well, this is my last question about the fellow pitchers in the system, but I see you're listed at 6'2", about 185 ish. Is that about accurate?
Probably 6'1", 195.
Okay. All right. So I'm surprised, man. You should have taken the 6'2". I gave it to you. But
Well, I
all
can't
right. Well, Sox
because
prospects, as you listen.
eventually someone's gonna say, "Hey, he's not," and then I'm gonna be put in an awkward situation.
I mean, I said it. I didn't. You didn't say it. So all right. So let's say you're around 6'1.5". All right, just to please everybody at home. So you're listed around there. Have you noticed the crew of pitchers that are surrounding you now are hulks? We have 6'8", 6'7", 6'6" is a ton of 6'5s. Have you noticed that happening around you?
I mean, when Wehunt and Trenner got drafted, I was like, "Dang, those are some big boys." And then going down there for the off-season training and seeing all the new draft guys. I mean, there's not one guy under 6'5". I'm like,
Nope.
now I feel small. Like, what's going on?
Dude, we had Peyton Tolley on a couple weeks ago, and I'm just like, dude, he is a specimen of a human being. And I'm
I
just
just
like,
call him the
dude,
Hulk. I mean, there's
oh
nothing else
yeah.
you can say.
Yeah. And then I've heard a couple stories about Brandon Clark down there and what he's doing in the weight room and everything. He sounds like a beast himself. And I'm just like, dude, they are just getting like guys that were made in a shop that are just being drafted by the Red Sox right now. I didn't know if you had felt that yet, but I'm assuming you have. I'm guessing just being
Yeah,
around
I mean it's just like impressive. I mean, you walk around and you see these guys, you're like, all right, we got a bunch of giants. And then when they go out and do things, it's just like, all right, the Giants are very, very athletic. Like that's pretty cool.
All right. Well, that's leading me into the we're on a food run right now. I hope you're prepared. So we're gonna start off with this one. I already asked you the chicken one last year, and you let me down. You're not a Zaxby's guy. That's fair. You know what? I'm willing to accept that defeat, but you have a chance to redeem yourself right here because
Okay.
I have a sauce question for you. Everybody loves sauces, so you got 3 fingers here, and you only get 3 sauces in those fingers, and you get no other sauces for the rest of your life. What are you putting in those 3 fingers?
Whew. I really, really like the Polynesian sauce from Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
That's really good. Any sweet and sour sauce. That's pretty good as well. I would say just the generic Chick-fil-A sauce too. I mean, I think all those are pretty good.
Wow. Clean
Yeah.
sweep Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking you're willing to give up.
Oh no, ketchup. I love ketchup.
Okay.
I
All right.
love ketchup.
I was about to say, man, like I understand Chick-fil-A sauce is fine, but you're willing to ditch ketchup for the rest of your life. You're willing to ditch ranch, like mayo.
I'm not I would pick blue cheese over ranch any day.
Yeah, see, that's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Actually, I support that take.
Let's go. I got pooped on the whole entire off-season program because I didn't put ranch on things. I put too much ketchup on things. That was tough for me because everyone made fun of me for that.
Why? What's against ranch?
I just don't like it. Doesn't
Okay,
fit me
that's
well.
fair. Have you ever had Wingstop ranch?
No.
Okay. I've asked that question to everybody that's come on. I've gotten Wingstop ranch probably 5-6 times. I mean, it's pretty popular. You'd be surprised that it's probably like the best ranch of any like chain I've ever gotten that answer for.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to trying it. I just like if people put like ranch on pizza and stuff like that. Like that's weird to me.
All right, well, that's a shot on me then because I do that. That's fair. All right, it's leading me into my next question here. I'm big on in the Northeast. We don't really have a ton of chains, but when I grew up in St. Louis, it was chain city. Like there's fast food chains, sit down chains, literally freaking everywhere. But not the case in New England. They do have them, just not all over the place. I need your Mount Rushmore of restaurant chains, and they can be stand up or fast food or sit down.
Oh, See, in season, you eat a lot of fast food.
Mhm.
So
It's a tough question, man, because this is everything. This is drive-through or you go in and sit down, but it's got to be accessible like most parts of the country. So like if you said like In-N-Out, that's fine because it's accessible at least in like half the country.
yeah, I mean, I think Cookout is one of the top up there.
I'm with you.
Yep.
Like that. Waffle House, top tier.
Okay.
I had Lenny's for the first time in Florida. That
Oh
was
no.
really good.
I don't know Lenny's.
It's like a Jersey Mike's.
Oh, Jersey Mike's has my heart.
Yeah, Jersey Mike's. I was gonna put that at 4, but then I said Lenny's. I got to think of a restaurant.
There's an easy one out there. You got this.
I mean, Jack Brown's is pretty good.
Oh,
It's like a burger joint. It's pretty good.
I'm
Ask Turner
surprised.
about it. Oh my God, that kid went there every day in Salem.
I thought you were the Panda Express guy.
I mean, I like Panda Express, but I think there's other things more better than that. Mullins is huge on Panda Express.
I thought you were the Panda Express guy. I guess I was wrong.
I mean, maybe. I mean, Panda is pretty good, but I think Jack Brown's is like if I said all those three, I'd pick Jack Brown's over Panda.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No idea what Jack Brown's is, but I'm sure I don't know when I'll ever
better
be in
than
Salem,
Panda.
Virginia. It's not better than Panda, dude. My wife was trying to tell me Payway was better than Panda Express. I was like, you get that slander out of here. Anybody else agree with me? Are you guys with me on that one? Payway?
No, I would say Panda's better than Payway. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. I got 1.5 questions left, Jamie. Do you have anything empty in the tank, just non-baseball related?
I got a food one now that we're on the food subject. When you've gone to Sweden, what's some things you've had that you couldn't get in the States? Like, what's the craziest food you've had there?
I had a kebab pizza. That was unbelievable. I mean, you can probably get it here, but I've never had it. And then when I went to Sweden,
Yeah.
my fiance was like, "Oh, this is kind of popular in Sweden." It's literally just I think it's pizza and then it's some sort of meat on it and then like fries. It's really good. And there's some sort of dressing over it, but I forget what it is.
That's making
Holy
me hungry now. That
cow.
sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Andrew's mind's like blown right now.
I mean, I've already told her about 400 times the first day I want that. It was so good.
Dude, this is incredible.
Yeah.
It's typically topped with kebab meat, onions. I don't know that word, and sauce. It's usually beef. The sauce used is called kebab sauce in Sweden. Is most often a mixture of yogurt or sour cream and other spices. I mean, sounds pretty damn good.
It's top tier.
Okay. Yeah, never had it, never heard of it, but it sounds fantastic. I was thinking, as soon as you said kebab pizza, I thought it was gonna be like a pizza rolled up on a kebab skewer, but all right. Legit pizza.
That's what I thought it was, because she's like, "Oh, we're having kebab pizza tonight," and I was like, I don't know if I'm about that. And then she comes in with a pizza box, and I'm like, all right, you got my attention. And she opens it up, and I'm like, all right, there you go. You solved me.
It's fair. Have you I'm sure you've taken her around the New Jersey scene yet. I'm sure you've taken her to like the boardwalks on the shore and things like that. Like, what has she thought about the New Jersey scene, even like food included?
So I'm from South Jersey, where like there's a lot of woods and stuff like that, and she's actually said that like the area where I'm living kind of, I mean, it hints Sweden, like the nature aspect to it. But I took her to like Atlantic City because I'm only 30 minutes away from Atlantic City. She was like, "Oh, it's another city, cool." And then I live like 10 minutes away from Long Beach Island. And that's just literally just one road with a bunch of stores and the beach and stuff like that. So she enjoyed that. And then the food, she's just like, oh, it's just typical American food.
Yeah, that's fair. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I had my eyes open towards the South Jersey and the coast and all of that area last year. I went for the very first time. I went down the coast and went to what is it, Cape May? Is that what that is down there?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like 40 minutes away from there.
dude. I took the ferry at Cape May down to I was going to Delaware for
Yep.
an extended weekend, but so I took the ferry down there. I kind of hung out in Cape May for a little bit while we were killing some time. Dude, that whole like line is incredible. Like
Yep.
I feel like it's slept on. Like I don't know.
100%. I mean, when you think of like South Jersey, everyone's just like, oh, Atlantic City. And like
Yeah.
Atlantic City's cool, but I think like Long Beach Island and Cape May, like I think those are probably the best places in the South.
Yeah, no, incredible spot. I mean, I would go back. Like it's one of those places where I'm just like, yeah, I've been there, don't need to go back, but no, like I would go back, explore Jersey a little more. Obviously, I was passing through, but it was still incredible. And they have all of their service areas named after famous like actors and like people. I was like in the Frank Sinatra service area. I was like, this is incredible. I love that New Jersey does that because no other state does that.
Yeah, I mean, on Long Beach Island, there's I guess there's like a street and it's called Osborne Island, and Osborne just literally has a house there, and it's in like he's just has this whole entire road just after him.
Yeah, not many other states do that, man. I'm telling you, it's kind of cool. But all right, I got one last question for you here before we let you go. Okay. And I like to end these episodes on this question because I am a guy that likes to speak things into an existence until it comes true. So I just like keep on saying it until it happens. I don't know if you're like that, but if you are, let's say we're a year from now. Let's say the calendar says November of 25. You're looking back on your year. What are a couple things, maybe give me like one or two things that you would like to have spoken to existence for it to come true this next baseball season?
If we're going to talk stat-wise, I would love to get more innings underneath my belt in a season, and I would love to cut the walk rate down. And we've talked about like goals-wise, I would love to have like a steady mix in the rotation in AA, hopefully for pushing for a spot in AAA coming for that next season.
Okay. I mean, very solid goals. You obviously, those are things that are very doable. So, yeah, I love it. All right, Noah, we've taken up 47 minutes of your time. I feel like it has flown by. But we appreciate you hopping on. I know you've done a one or two of these this off season, but thank you so much for having us.
Of course, and thank you for having me.